away with it?
First of all, I think this is an issue that we should be looked at from a criminal and security angle, not political angle, because we have had artists in this country aligned to different political parties. We have had rivalries and competition, but this is rivalry and competition gone too far. I think the red line has been crossed, because even when we had Bobi Wine and Bebe Cool and their rivalry, and we've seen this all through, it has never reached this point where you have people being attacked. If it's true they attacked the hospital, I think for me that's a red line which should be condemned by everyone, because in the situation of lawlessness and gang rule, there is no one who is safe. They will smash your car and you will count your losses. So there should be no one to say that this is something that should be treated lightly. For me, police has to really come up and deal with this situation decisively, because the issue of saying stand warned, when they start even police cannot be safe in an era of lawlessness. We have seen it all over the world. They will attack a police station and overrun it and pick guns. It's just that in these attacks, perhaps we have not seen bullets flying, but it can easily escalate to a situation where people get hold of guns and the game will change from that point. So for me, I think this is a matter that is very serious. It is also a matter that puts our security under question, because our economy, one of the biggest things that have made our economy very attractive for investment is because of stable security compared to many countries around us. So if I'm an investor and I know that my property can be attacked because there is a gang in the backyard, I will not invest. So there has to be a decision where this red line that has been crossed is dealt with, because there are far-reaching implications of loss of life, loss of property, but also affecting the confidence in the economy. I think these artists can compete, they can have rivalry, but they don't need to go to be violent. And we have seen it. We have lady artists in this country. Don't they sing? Don't they have competition? How come we have not seen gangs being ladies turning themselves into gangs? I have attended many shows of many young artists. It also goes to a point where the industry, which has been a flourishing industry since the old times of the Congolese music, which was dominant here, we had new artists coming up. It's been our pride as Uganda that we have quite a lot of entertainers coming up. Now, when it goes into violence, it actually spoils the industry and spoils the chances of many young people who may want to come up, because a young person who is coming up will start thinking, where do I align? If I align with, if I attend Parasol's show, the other gang might attack me. If I attack this one, the other one might attack me. So it actually divides the industry and affects the prospect of growth. So there has to be a decision. The minister and the government, people responsible, must deal with this decisively.
Okay. And
as we go into the polls, let us not start, darkening our politics with this kind of situation too early. We can have artists. I have had artists even in my own constituency, including Alien Skin.
Oh,
he's been he attended, he performed at Shema, so there was no problem. There are many artists who have come. We love the music, But when you become violent, then even we start thinking, should I even associate with you? So we should not destroy our good music. We should not destroy our politics. 2025 needs to be a year of calm, even as we go into election year.
Welcome to Gang, Honorable Abdul Katonto.
Oscar, don't give you an impression that I've just walked in.
No. You came. You made a comment. I like the shirt. Nice shirt.
Thank you. Bought in Oino.
Oh. Yeah. I think you don't know the people. For you, Alien Skin, Palazzo, those are names you've never heard of.
No, I do a lot of reading. I don't
they are not
their
novelists.
shows, but I read about them.
Yeah.
But let's say this, Oscar. Looking at this incident as an isolated one, we really not being realistic. Let us analyze the industry itself and whether it has been having these challenges or not. How did the radio die?
Fighting. It was an accident.
Killed. How there was this gentleman, one of the guys who used to play, I think, cricket, the one who was killed in Agenua by a boat or something like that. And then the so-called gangs against the other. We've seen this. And then the industry has another challenge. We seem to have accepted that drugs and alcohol are a way of life of this particular industry and its actors as a country.
Drugs?
Yes. We know it. We know those who smoke the damn thing. they are known. And don't think that these people you see doing all these sort of things are just ordinary people waiting just to fight. They are motivated by other things. Of course, there is money, but many of them are high on drugs. Many of them are high on alcohol. So it is purely alcohol and drug abuse. And we need to help our younger people. You can be successful and you can manage that success. Some of them, they are having challenges of managing the fame and the success. So they end up resorting to some of those not good practices. Unfortunately now, Oscar, we now have decided to mix it up with politics. The other one were accepted. They can take the drugs and dress on the stage, and we laugh, and you're hurt, and you pay to go and watch, and you get amused and talk about it in your social clubs and so on. Now it is reached an extent where we are seeing organized gangs. Some time back in my usual official travels, Commonwealth, I went to Jamaica, Kingston actually. There are places which you can't go. They've been captured by a certain group, and many of them are actually artist commanded. You can't go there. Whether it is during day, obviously night it is totally out. Even police cannot go there because they are armed, and it's only their groups that go there. By the time you realize you've grown into such cultures and levels that it doesn't look good. Go to countries like Haiti. You have gangs all over. And why? Drugs, alcohol, and criminality. And once you mix all of them, what do you expect? But the so-called, I am not so much into this. I don't want to advise my brother Katesh to get so much excited by inviting some of these guys. You get, they can come and entertain you and so on, but don't get involved on hiring, so this is my group and so on, because you see, once you do that, you involve them now in political rivalries. So they graduate from their industry rivalries of Baby Cool, Bobby Wine, and who's the other one in the US? Chameleon, and so on. The artist industry competition and rivalries. And now you get them involved in political rivalries. Yet you still have the challenges they are having of drug taking, of alcohol abuse. What do you expect? So it's not as easy as police coming in and so on. It's a big society problem.
Who is the one that said on Honorable Mpuga's function that now we are similar? Who was that?
Aliens. You see now what happens, and I've seen this politician and laugh. There is a group allied now to the Bobby Wine group. They have their own groups and so on. Now there is another one of Baby Cool and blah blah blah. Now you have this one of Kenzo and so on and so you are having artists who have now gone into purely politics, and now you are going to volatile times. And I'll give you an example. You remember when Baby Cool, because I don't attend those shows, I'm sorry, I'm not a big fan, though I love music. There was someone I read some concert which was in Kololo. I think it was by Baby Cool. And you remember how they were throwing bottles? Yes? You remember very well? The fans went and they started throwing bottles. They tried to stop and so on. Now, from what I read yesterday, is like when Alien Skinny was coming, he anticipated a group to do the same, of throwing bottles. So he came prepared to fight back. That's why you could see that if you followed that story well, they came and showed force before he reached the stage. Then they tried to look where a bottle would come from. Either there was some or two bottle came, and all of a sudden there was an attack in that place. So politicians, we should divorce ourselves from this sort of thing. It doesn't go well. Let these young men and women, they're making some money. We allow them to grow, make some money. There are many young people who want entertainment. They will pay to go and watch them and so on. We don't have to get them involved in our politics, because our politics has got its own dynamics, and sometimes people don't have those strong shock absorbers, Oscar. They are taken up and they will do anything they can, hire anybody to win an election, and that would be very, very disastrous. It's not very good, but it's not yet too late. I think we can manage it.
The Karamaji on X, formerly Twitter, says stop the gangs now. Started social media insults and intimidation, graduated to street brawls. Now we are attacking homes and destroying property, and a lot more. Agatha Tuhairi in the studio, you're most welcome to Gang. Agatha, this thing of the gangs, but it's a question of misrule. Abdu here says don't look at it in isolation, but over the last 2 days on our village forum, Chigo village forum, people are annoyed about noise. Just in a small area, the noise generated. Pardon? No.
There are bars in Chigo as well?
Well, there's some from a bars, there's some from churches. It's just incredible. And I think, isn't that misrule?
No,
isn't that the whole package?
It's a freedom.
What freedom?
Don't ever ask
what freedom is that?
So freedom,
now
human rights.
Human rights? Your human rights to
that's what they say.
Loudspeakers on top of your roof?
That's what they say.
Honorable Katuntu, you are our MP. It's a question of misrule everywhere.
Misrule, dysfunctionality, lawlessness.
Lawlessness, actually, that's a good word.
Human rights.
And it's true, it shouldn't be looked at in isolation. It should be looked at in our law enforcement. You know, the selectiveness in our law enforcement is going to catch up in every way. You've seen these issues about the Bob Wine camp, people being in jail for years because of being in possession of military whatever, berets and whatever.
Red beret. Yeah.
Now you have people that go on stage in camouflage, and they are not touched, because these are and it started in 2021, in 2020 towards the elections.
Yeah.
where one musician who is now a politician, whose group is full of musicians, was being stopped from going anywhere, having any rallies. Another musician, or more, those that aligned to President Museveni, like Bebeku, were having processions. This other one, Catherine Kusasa, were having. So people started to see.
Isn't that one the presidential advisor?
But she's a musician.
Okay.
And that's what I found out saying about divorcing the music. Because the music industry in itself has a lot of rivalries world over. You heard about the shootings of the notorious B.I.G.s, the Tupacs, and all that. Now, here you have that because even before they entered into politics, I think you guys.
Some of us we are gen old, so
I think you would
when
know.
you say
I thought you would know
B.I.G.,
the B.I.G. because
you
and
should say-
Tupac. You are the
should-
old people because those guys are old
we
guys.
We do.
Oh, okay. Abdul, you know that? Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there are musicians in the US that have been shot more than that now, but also the drug abuse in the music industry. Many have died of overdoses, more than here in Uganda and somewhere else. You are seeing the addiction of chameleon that they are talking about. Even here, in the 2000s, we had only 3 musicians. Others, no one knew them if they were there. Chameleon, Bebeku, Bobby Wine. They were fighting all the time. They were not yet in politics. So there's already that rivalry, that competition. Now,
JK gave that background.
so you are expecting the politics, the law enforcement, to be the one to step in. But now you have the politics being the ones pitting them against one another.
Utilizing them.
Exactly. If you are Kenzo and you are on President Museveni's side and NRM, you get away with everything.
But Kenzo is a husband to a politician, a minister.
So is Bebe Cool. All that comes in. But I will still put it down to the lawlessness. Alien Skin has gotten away with so many things. No one is touching him. Let Bobby Wine or any musician connected, associated with Bobby Wine do something. They will be in jail forever. You have Bobby Young who is still in jail for all this while. So I think I remember my professor friend from Makerere one day was invited to speak about the potential oil curse in this country, and he said, "You guys, there's no oil curse. What is there in this country is a governance curse. The misrule you're talking about, the lawlessness that we don't have people that are keeping law and order. We have people that have become gods. They buy the security. Law enforcement is bought. It's a commodity now. If I am a musician, I can go and ask security to take away a person I don't like. If I am a musician aligned to a certain big group, I'm going to be untouchable. And it's not just musicians. We have seen with politicians, with civil society actors, that some people will be picked over an offense and others will be left to go scot-free over an even bigger offense.
Okay.
Some people will be given bail, others will be kept in jail for forever without bail over a smaller offense than the one that has been given bail, because the offense, the violence that Alien Skin was involved in Zambia, it was a big issue. It was an issue that someone should, there should be some, you have to have these punitive measures that other people will not continue doing the same thing.
That is in the judicial
But
process
Oscar,
being
for
forced.
me, it's
He's out on bail.
Katesh,
yes.
he's I see people have posted already of I think his alien skin in military wares.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that it's wishful thinking that we can divorce artists from entertainment or participating in campaigns or mobilization. World over, we have seen it. We've just had US elections. We saw how artists were involved, in moving crowds, in singing. So you cannot, because when you are mobilizing, especially the youth, the entertainment is part of the process. The issue here should be, we should not mix criminality with politics. For me, I do
Or
not
we
think
should deal with
we
criminality.
should deal with
straight away.
criminality, because these are young people. There are people who look up to them. There are people who are upcoming. They want to see. They aspire to be Bob Wines and by the way, there is prosperity in the music. Some of these young people have actually made it through music. So as an industry, it's an industry that needs to be supported. I think this is time for people. I've seen people like Captain Michael Mukura trying to mentor some of these young people over the years. It is time for us to put an effort to work and separate criminality from anything else, but also try to encourage these people to manage success, because it's also an issue of, I think it's Honorable Katuntu said it, failing to manage success. Says you become a big artist and suddenly you think that you are bigger than anyone else because you speak so and so. I think that is something that we need to do.
Okay. Yes,
Oscar,
just a quick one on I want us to move away from that.
Yeah, Oscar, I think what Honorable Katesh is saying is very, very important, but he's distorting some facts. We've seen so many times many artists making a pilgrimage and pilgrimages to Gulu to go and meet Afande Salim Saleh.
Did he say the other day that now he's letting
I
them
know
go?
he has let them go, but I think he has let go of them at a very wrong time when they need him more. Because I expect that when he meets them, he gives them the word of counsel of saying, okay, even when you're connected to me or you're connected to the government in power, you have no right of causing mayhem and chaos in the public. And I would expect that people like Honorable Katesh, who are connected to some of these artists, who have called them to their rallies, call these people out and say, okay, now that you are in our camps, we expect that you behave in a mature way. Because alien skill.
We don't have camps. For me, for example, I attended the show because I love the music.
Yes.
I attended the show in Serena.
Derek, the question to you is: Would Bobby Wine go to Gulu to see?
That's a very far-fetched thought, even if you got
But
it
you
close
see,
to.
Katesh,
even when
you still
got
get
close
it
to.
wrong in my
Yes.
view.
Yeah.
As long as the industry is becoming a partisan and you encourage it, I have this artist, he's mine, he's for my cause and he has to promote me.
Yes.
Then you have another artist doing the same. There is no you are going to differentiate between the rival of this artist and you principal's rivalries.
You remember the
You're
time
going to
when
mix them up. And I'm
You remember
telling
when
you,
the
these are
time-
young people.
Yes.
These are people, as we all know, who are so vulnerable, especially on drugs and alcohol. You're going to cause us problems.
You remember that time when President Museveni hired all artists, most of the artists, to sing for him the Tuboganawe song? I think that was towards the 2016 general elections. That camp remained intact the way it was, just a few have dropped off. But those people...
at that time, the President Museveni's camp was trying to respond to the Bobby Wine's camp because the
2016
opposition...
Bobby Wine wasn't here.
No, Tubonga now
Yes.
came
Was
in
it 2016?
2021,
No, 2016.
2016.
Bobby Wine wasn't here.
But at least there was a little bit of response. And no, not the response. That was the beginning, actually, of the political,
Politicians'
political music
yes,
coming in and of this era, because the politics.
We had another rap before.
another
For 2016. Yeah.
2011.
But,
The one hit wonder.
So just moving on, Abdul. So what do you predict for this? I mean, 2025 is going to be an election year, really.
Yes.
And at some point, we'll invite the Electoral Commission to give us their roadmaps and so on and so forth. But what are your predictions here in the first week of January?
Predictions about what?
How the election will be conducted, how campaigns
Is
will
it
be
talking about elections? No.
We're talking about 2025, seeing what we see ahead.
No, I think just brace yourself. We are going into some very interesting times. That one, please, if you you don't have thick skin, you're going to have a little bit of shocks. Yeah, the difficult times are just ahead, and this is just the beginning. It's just an indicator and so on. You wait when the what we call political temperatures rise, the adrenaline rising, political one of course, you're going to see a little bit of this. So we need to find a way of managing it. It's and today I see, I think it started around 2011. The young people getting so much active in the politics. Today, they have been a little bit, the last 2 years they have not been all that very active. This year you are going to have so many young people now getting active. And once they do that, because they are devils.
What do you mean by getting active?
Oh, you are now going to see them, all of them, dressing politically with all these politicians' t-shirts and garments all over the place. They are going to get involved in musical shows, entertainment. The politicians are going to organize groups, youth groups, against another youth group and so on. So, and if you are a strategist and you are security, a national security strategist, that's what you should be looking at. And if you are religious leaders talking to politicians, I only guess, I only hope they listen to religious leaders. You need to tell them, let our youth not get so much involved in the violence, or let our youth not get, because they must get involved in the politics. That one is for sure. But you have not seen them, for example, at a border stage now doing the active politics. 3 months down the road today, you're going to see them. All of them, these borders. They'll be riding all over, accompanying politicians here and there. You're going to have terrible talk shows like this one, which are going to be political. All of them listening to and getting excited. You're going to have musical shows which are going to turn out political. And now if you have two groups as fans, chances that they may clash are also high. So as managers of this country, we now need to see how do we calm down the situation. We can have very fierce, strong competition without degenerating into violence. Because let me tell you, nobody eventually benefits from violence. A country that grows the culture of violence, especially in elections, it will be burning people. And I don't think anybody should be proud. So-and-so was killed in this, so-and-so was killed in this. So my view is we need as a country to get ready for it. And if we don't, we will be in trouble. But caution to the politicians. Please don't use our younger people.
Katesh, you know the politics, you people in the NRM, you are bloody. Your primaries are life-threatening sometimes.
Well, first of all, we are in an era of information. So globally, politics have changed because people have information, they see what is happening elsewhere. It is very easy for violence to escalate very quickly, especially if it is sponsored or instigated by actors. But it is also easy to calm down tensions because you can communicate. If you are a leader and you communicate a peaceful message, it will reach very many people. So for me, I am a bit optimistic that we will not have so much chaos in our primaries as NRM. What I know is that the contestations will be very heavy, and anyone who attempts to
what has given you that optimism?
Because I saw, for instance, recently we had very, very tough by-election in Kisoro, and there was no violence, but the contestations were very heavy, and people had to people contested the outcome of the primaries, and they went into the finals, and the served themselves justice. So it does not mean that all the time when there are disagreements,
the service came in the finals.
In the finals,
but not in the primary.
In the primary. So you can actually go through these tensions, but remain focused on the end objective. And at the end of the day, justice will be served. I know that people should be careful, especially in our primaries, not to cheat, because people have information. People will take pictures of what is happening, and once that information goes out, then people will be motivated to actually deliver justice at some point. So for me, I think that political disagreements, tension should not result into violence. And the duty of keeping law and order is with police. Police should not be partisan. They should stay on course, and all of us should behave according to the rules. I do not think that it is, I agree with Honorable Katun. We should not be barring people because we have gone through elections. So it's a challenge on security. And for me, I think, even for my own party, sometimes we should have the confidence that we can mobilize and win an election without actually having this. Sometimes police, some officers go overboard, thinking that you are trying to help a party, but sometimes you make it worse. I remember in the last elections, situations where we had to come in and say, no, we don't need all this so much deployment because so and so is coming. Let us just mobilize people, and the situation passed. I had the presidential candidates who came in my constituency. There was no single tear gas. So it is a challenge on us as a party. We must mobilize ourselves, talk to the people, and have peaceful elections. We are in charge. The NRM is the one in power. Any violence will be attributed to NRM as a party, as people in government. So if we have a violent election, it's not something to be proud of. And so we have to make sure that as the government, as a ruling party, we preside over a peaceful election.
But for you, Katesh, yes, people are attacking you in midterm. They did not even wait for 2025. And they are from your own party.
And I kept quiet. And what has happened? Most of them went silent. So I have been telling people that when you are in leadership, you have the responsibility to actually withdraw and take and be calm. We have been in parliament. We have been attacked. There are people who have been attacking. And some of our supporters would say, but why don't you allow us to punish them? Why don't you go to police, open a case and lock up this person? And I kept telling people, no, leave the people. They can abuse, they can say all sorts of things, but time will come when they do a self-reflection and they withdraw. And I have seen it in my own constituency. I have seen people, you abuse and I keep quiet until you actually give up. So sometimes you don't have to react.
Yes,
if we are
what
leaders,
Abdu said, have a thick skin.
Yes, you must have a thick skin to go through it and remain calm. At the end of the day, life goes on. But if you react, every reaction invites another reaction. It is always not good to escalate tensions. When you escalate, there will be a counter. And that is how things become a problem. It becomes a culture of revenge, attacks and violence, and that's not good for our country.
Okay. Agatha, do you think Katesh's optimism about the upcoming election and the campaign period is well grounded, or you worry?
Everyone can be optimistic. That one is not in anyone's control. But what's being done? What is he basing that optimism on? Is there anything being done by the NRM government in which he's a leader?
Yes, we are dictating our register to make sure that we have at least everyone on the register.
Was that not happening before?
It didn't happen. We didn't have a register last time.
You see,
that's why they said that everybody should vote.
You see, what happens is that
some sort of register.
It's fake.
I think the thing, Oscar, is
Yeah.
going back to what we said. Can we enforce the law? Can we at least have a political will to enforce the law? Can we all appreciate the implications of leading this country down this route of lawlessness? Because what's happening is that Katesh might say this, but there are people in NRM that are untouchable, that we have seen during these elections and what they do. They are historicals, they are rich, they are powerful. Now, the thing is that, and the tragedy of this country is that we have now many that are powerful, that consider themselves powerful. They beat up people, get away with it. They have rigged the elections before, gotten away with it. They have gotten involved in election bribery and whatever, which is prohibited by law, gotten away with it. Because it has become okay. It is a norm. It is a practice. Now, for Katesh to be optimistic right now, when we don't see anything that has changed on the ground, for people to have any sort of confidence in that process. And the question we always ask ourselves when after the NRM elections, if they can preside over a messy internal election like that, but they are still the ones we are trusting to preside over an election for the entire country. Me, I would never be optimistic. Anyone optimistic is either naive or is just lying to us here. It's a thing that we need to see proper mechanisms. We need to see people held accountable. It does not happen. People are killed during elections and these deaths are not investigated. No one is held accountable. And the thing about impunity, when people keep getting away with crimes and these vices that we see, there is no incentive for them to stop. And we have to have a government that puts that incentive. The NRM government has always, before even it became NRM, when it was just a movement system, has always had its favorites. There's always a Biana, and so there are people they always prefer. I know how they went around the country in the last election, trying to make sure the people who voted against the age limit do not get the NRM flag. So you already have those people that are the favorites of the system, that they will do whatever it takes to protect them. But also, whatever they do, they will get away with it. And the camps, like they said, the other rival people and their supporters, that's how violence starts. That's how violence is bred. That's how violence has been bred in this country for this long. Because it has become normal that every election, people will die, people will be injured, people will be in jail. It's like a matter of life and death. It doesn't matter what election it is. Look at what happened in Kayunga the other day, LC5 by-election. Look at even just the smallest election. You could think it's only the election of President Museveni that we have seen as, a matter of he has to stay. But the NRM government will have that much investment in every election. And the investment will be taking there the military, the way we have militarized these elections, the way the police has no control over what happens there. And we think that's normal. So I am not optimistic.
You are not optimistic.
Yeah, I don't think the issue is the police, really. You people, you stretch a little bit too far. It's about the politicians, period. It's about us. As long as you are irresponsible, these things will happen. Then the police will start to continue running around. Because, you see, we don't have enough police to police literally every Ugandan, to be in each and every village, make sure everything is calm. By the time they come to a village called Idudi, things have already happened, and they are fire brigading. So it's about preparing our nation, preparing countrymen, and say, look here, elections is a civic exercise. We go into it to choose our leaders, and winning is okay, but everybody going to an election psychologically should be prepared that he can lose. Never go into an election thinking you are going to win. going to an election with a possibility of losing. And once you lose graciously, I mean, it does not hang over you. Life must go on. But secondly, we also have job seekers. And to them, it's life and death.
Yeah, that one is not preparing to lose.
Yeah, because you see, they have nothing to do outside politics, outside these offices. And doesn't matter whether at parliamentary level, district level, sub-county level, because now we have elections up to the grassroots, village or LC1. So it's about the political class. The political class to realize that election is, first of all, is an exercise about how we are going to manage our society, not for you looking for jobs. So that you must kill somebody, you must hire goons, you must sell everything you have to
join politics.
To join politics and win, and therefore recoup. It also has its own problems, because once you've lost a billion shillings and you're a member of parliament, you reach there and that money maybe is not there. Then you start looking for other ways of getting that money. Then with all the attendant, risks coming and corruption. So my view is this culture, political culture, we need a paradigm shift. We need to change. The mindset must. And it's a process. It's not going to change like a tomorrow one. Yeah. But you need to start on it. But what are we doing? You get your little kids in the primary, they want to be prefects. You are giving them money to buy biscuits and sweets and so on. And you are not preparing them as a leader, but you are really buying positions for them. So they grow up knowing you must, because you've seen you're the one managing schools.
We've been trying to improve on that.
I congratulate you if you are trying to improve. But the situation is not good throughout the country, not in a particular school, but throughout the country. So and it is going on and on. So the country has a little bit of an ailment. It's not malignant cancer. It's not fatal, but we can treat it. We can treat it. So by the time you involve the army, and because you see, when you look at the constitution, it says, the army, the armed forces are supposed to be subordinate to civilian authority. Now the civilian authority is that which orders the army to do all sorts of things. Because I don't believe that our law, and this one I respect, of course, I disagree with many people who are thinking of electoral reforms, legal electoral reforms. The issue is what we have. How has it been implemented? Because there is no law today which allows you to use violence.
And police is the biggest implementer of
and
the
police law. Is the biggest, of course, implementer.
So you see, you go back to you saying the problem is not police, but politicians.
Because we order them. And we bribe them.
That's the problem. There's no law that says the police should be ordered by a politician.
Yes.
We should be.
No, there is a law.
I mean,
there's a law which says don't.
There's a law that gives them the mandate.
The mandate,
to keep law and order.
Yes.
To secure citizens and property. They should not wait to get order from every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And that's the problem in this country.
Even the electoral commission
is not just from one person. The orders are from the president. They are from the prime minister. They are from a powerful MP. They are from a speaker. They are from. We have a lawless country that everyone thinks they have the power to take away the power of the laws that is given to these enforcers.
Let me give you as a practicing politician. When you look at the law, the mandate to organize the electoral process by law, by constitution, is to the electoral commission. Tell me, haven't we had more often than not that polling stations have been taken over by people who are not even officers of the electoral commission, literally managing them? So the law is already there to protect the electoral commission to perform its independent function. We even went to the most ridiculous thing, to say we need to change the name of the electoral commission. It used to be called Uganda Electoral Commission. Then we said independent, to remind them daily that actually you're what? you are independent, and yet you find an RDC. These days, I am now told to the politician, listen to me, the so-called assistant RDCs that have been appointed, they are now
assistants to the deputy.
Assistants to the deputy. They are posted like 4 or 5 over in every district. They are now being engaged to do the manipulation of these electoral processes and so on, recruitment and so on, blah, blah. So you need to watch out. Once you have that sort of interference, then forget about the electoral commission being an independent electoral commission. And once you have that partisan illegal activity, I am telling you, it is a recipe for disaster and for violence.
Yeah, closing out the topic, looking at elections 2025.
First of all,
you people in NRM, at some point you start fighting for your life as well, because you have 2 big elections,
you know,
the primary and the final.
it is very easy to focus on NRM, but you know, first of all the parties will be responsible for selecting flag bearers. So the first challenge will be for parties on how they manage their internal democracies to come up with flag bearers and make sure that that process is not laced with extreme, contestations. So you might be thinking about NRM, but even NUP must select flag bearers, and we know that in the last elections, literally all the parties had problems. I know one party which is a major party in my constituency, they went and installed someone and the other party members crossed and joined NRM. So it's a challenge for the parties on internal democracy, number one. Number two, in this era, if any party manipulates the process of flag bearers, getting flag bearers, the guarantee is that there will be independents who will come up and justice will be served at the end. And we have seen, and I have a lot of trust in the Electoral Commission, because the example I've given is Kisoro, which has just come out of by elections.
You have a lot of trust in the NRM Electoral Commission?
No, I've said, I don't, Oscar, you are not so, Honorable Katun, to not be like Samuel. I know we are missing him.
But I was asking.
No, whichever party mishandles their internal processes in selecting flag bearers, the guarantee is clear. There will be independence, and at the end of the day, you will find that the independence will catch up at the end, because we have seen it happen. That's why you see sometimes even the president is very soft on independence. There is especially those who are NRM leaning, because he knows the challenges we had. So other than that, the police and the security must focus on their role of law and order, ensuring justice. But the bigger responsibility, like Honorable Katuntu has said, is on the individuals who are participating. If they have set up a campaign schedule rally that you are here up to 4, and from 4 there is so and so, and then for you at 4 you are defiant. Those are some of the things that also actually put our security services in a trouble, because they are trying to enforce and some of the politicians just want to defy. So it is a responsibility not only for police but also for individuals, that if you cause violence, you don't want to follow the rules, then you will have a chaotic elections. Everybody must play ball.
You also need to, I think Sagasa was talking about it, about selective application of the implementation of the law.
Yes, for example, in the last elections, there were complaints about RDCs. And I think it came out even in Parliament. You remember when RDCs were interfering in Women's Day celebrations. You remember we had that problem, and the directive was issued. If you are an RDC, why do you have to storm a radio station to stop someone who is mobilizing because he's not in NRM? Let the politicking be left to us. Don't get involved.
switching off radio shows and so on.
They don't get
because
the
you
directives
actually
from
end
above.
up giving a bad, some of the so-called directives are determined to think that you are pleasing. I know some of the RDCs who have been dropped because they went overboard. You think that you are trying to please the leaders, but you are actually breaking the law. And we must know that nowadays, we have seen in the recent times all these individual sanctions and pressure on people. At the end of the day, you have to be accountable. So for me, my call is on the politicians. We must be civil, but also security. Just don't get involved in where you don't need to. Maintain a line of enforcing the law. And for us, if we're in a political game, let's play it. And the winner will come out.